Welcome back in, everybody, to another edition of the Dynasty Trade Show. Of course, Adam's here, so I have to say we appreciate you tapping in. And as always, if you want to check out more of our stuff or get one of your trades featured on the trade show, hit us up, patreon.com/South Harmon. Without further ado, Adam, how you doing, man? You got the Cam Akers jersey on? Oh, he's feeling it. You're feeling it, buddy.
He's back, baby. I'll say this. He wasn't elite old end of 2020 Cam Akers, but we're starting to see the confidence, the trust in the coach, and we're getting there, man. And let's get into the trades, though, man. Let's talk about – we got yours already up on the screen. We'll start with you, I got one of mine on there, too. And this one here is actually both of ours, right?
Yeah, you can take some credit. We co-manage this team, Bomb Squad 2 League, Destination Devy League. We have with a bunch of the guys. Man, what do you think? Kadarius Toney Watson in a second, and we sent away Hollywood Brown. How you feeling about that? I know I hit you up I kind of made this deal happen, but, we think the same most of the time. I didn't think you'd have a problem with it. And everything you said was exactly what I was feeling. But tell the people the thought process behind it, why you were okay with it.
Yeah, and it's funny, man, because in the co-managed leagues, we have two of them on Sleeper. When you send out a trade, it's weird because I get a notification that says McNutted proposed a trade to you because I'm in it.
Okay.
But then I've figured out now that, like, which ones are coming from that league. I'm like, okay, he's sending out an offer. So I already saw it before it got accepted. I like it a lot. I'll say this. I need to clarify the reason I like it. And if you're seeing this, right, the trade is Kadarius Toney, Christian Watson, a 24-second that we're receiving for our Hollywood Brown. Now, if this is a lineup league, Mike, I think I'm having a different conversation, but it's still something 100%. I would consider doing, right? This is a best ball league, the Bomb Squad 2 league, right? We are in a rebuild, and in best ball, we are looking to multiply assets. You might be sitting here reading this and saying, man, like, can't you get more for Hollywood Brown? We couldn't, at least not that we tried to. I don't think anyone's paying up in that league. It's, a lot of sharper guys that are tapped in, and they've been around the best ball circuit at least once. So you're not just getting a plethora that's not these guys, right? Toney, I like the talent still. I like the upside and the burst of him, but his situation's horrible. Christian Watson right now I still like the talent, but he's being outplayed by Romeo Doubs. And we get that 24-second. Mason's team seems to always, what's going on, Ben, always pushing those picks in. So we'll see. It might be late. We don't know. It's a year out. But, Mike, I think right now with Hollywood Brown, it's not a prospect you and I both are very high on. And although he's probably going to have some decent weeks still here with Kyler Murray, Nuke's going to be back. I just don't project him to be someone I want to have. When I can do this, I'd rather take the piece out in Hollywood Brown than keep him consolidated versus the other side.
I like it too. When you look at it, you brought up a good point. It's a tough league to trade in. A lot of the firsts are already spoken for. They're pretty consolidated amongst teams. Not a lot of people in the market for Hollywood Brown that are on the competing side. So, again, in a lineup league, man, I'm probably more just riding out Hollywood for a little bit longer until somebody really wants to come get him and give me, a first and a second or something along those lines. In a best ball league, man, I'm more inclined to just take what I can get now, even if it is three pieces that aren't that appealing individually. You know what I mean? You gave the points about Kadarius Toney and Christian Watson, and the second is what it is. I'm not really looking at it as any of them are a first, but they all have the possibility of increasing in value at some point, right? We know what to pick increasing in value. If Christian Watson comes out and has a couple real good games with Aaron Rodgers, all of a sudden his stock, skyrockets. And if Kadarius Toney can actually get on the fucking field, we'll kind of be back to that intriguing player and wide receiver that we wanted at the start of the year. So in a best ball, I'm more than willing to kind of do this. Hollywood, he is what he is. Like he's doing nothing but hindering our rebuild, being on our team, scoring points and getting 37 targets a game or whatever the hell it is. So.
Yep. And the last thing, too, is you brought up two good points real quick I want to touch on is that, one, we have options maybe when Kadarius Toney, if it ever happens, maybe it doesn't, but if he ever has a point where value bumps up, now we can trade that piece. Same thing with Watson. 24-second obviously is pick leverage. It doesn't lose value. The other thing that the reason I kind of like it, even as an additional point, is the last point here, injury de-risking. I mean, if Hollywood Brown goes down, you lose everything, right? And when you take it for these three pieces, it's not the sexiest deal, but you de-risk that. So that's your deal. Let's talk about mine here, Mike. And this is with one of our patrons, Pasta. And Mike, this is in one of our classic shit best ball leagues, right? So
yes, it is.
Let's take a look.
Pasta buying into Curtis Samuel. I love it. Man. Having some fucking conviction. Now, it is a 24 and a 25 second. You're the Cleveland guy, man. What do you think about DPJ? Like I see it the 24 second for Curtis Samuel, and I'm like, that's about right. I see a 25 second, even though it says 25 for DPJ. How do you feel about that? Like the Donovan Peoples-Jones thing. He's had some moments, but it's kind of just been meh.
I'll tell you what makes it. I can see it for both sides here, and why I thought it was the right offer to send, and he ultimately pressed accept. So he wants Samuel, right? And I just feel like where Samuel was, I wanted a little more than a second for him. But in best ball, like you're not going to be able to ask for a second plus on Samuel and probably get the button pressed, right?
No, yeah.
And I think where it is, Mike, is in lineup with DPJ, I think it's not really appealing for me. Like I have him in a couple lineup leagues. He's the definition of a roster clogger in a lineup league, because when are you going to press the button on DPJ? You're not,
Never.
But in best ball, I'll say this, Mike, like we saw week 1, he got peppered with targets. I'm not the biggest DPJ guy. I've had moments where he was this great number 1 receiver in his high school class. I keep thinking the talent's going to come through. He just had bad experience in Michigan. They can't throw. He's talented, but like Mike, it's just the more I watch him, it's not someone I think is going to have this big value leap. So for me, in best ball rebuild, I wanted to get off of that piece. I do think on a contending side, like I'd roster DPJ. He's going to make your lineup maybe a handful of times, 2, 3, He'll have a pop week, touchdown, long one. So I think the 25 second for him is a win, and I think the 24 second for Samuel's probably about right. But to be honest, man, if Samuel can stay healthy, that's a win for Pasta, I think, a 24 second for Samuel.
You bring that up, man. It's a gamble on Curtis Samuel, but Curtis Samuel will be worth more than a 24 second if he stays healthy and keeps getting the usage that he's getting. Like he has been fantastic, reminding us all that he is extremely talented. He just always had those health concerns, and sometimes when he was in Carolina, they didn't want to use him in this way for whatever reason. And Ron Rivera was like, "Nah, fuck that. I got that. This year, you're getting used all over the field, buddy." Yeah. He's actually been out targeting Terry McLaurin for most of the year, which is impressive. So I agree. Like DPJ, like in a lineup league, man, there's no way I'd make a kind of deal like this ever on the Pasta side. In a best ball, you're right. Especially when Deshaun Watson comes back, for that playoff run, that could really pay off for Pasta. He might get 1 or 2 weeks in the playoffs out of him, which would be a big deal.
Absolutely, man. So that's the deal. I think it honestly, I'd like it better from my side. I'm not going to lie to you, sit here and tell you I don't like it from my side. That's why I did it. But I don't think because of the best ball and the settings that we play in, Mike, that this is as bad as it might look to the eye that is thinking more of a lineup way.
I feel you. Oh, baby, we got a T. Higgins and a Mark Andrews trade.
This a big trade, man. When I saw it, you had already beat me to it. You said, "Ooh," in the trade shithead trades. I was like, "Damn, this is a lot of moving pieces," and I like what's going on.
So you get T. Higgins, a first and a second for Mark Andrews, and a couple thirds.
Yep.
I guess it really depends on your tight end premium, but man, it'd have to be a heavy one or a start 2 tight end league for me to pay that much for Mark Andrews. Now, he is incredible, and we saw last week he can win you weeks outright, but T. Higgins is no fucking slouch himself in that first and second in 24. Damn, I like that. I like that side. Mike, really, man, you'd have to tell me it'd be like start 2 tight end or like a full point bonus tight end premium. Ooh, I just can't pay that much for Mark Andrews, man. I'll just go find one of these shittier tight ends, like a Higbee or something like that. It doesn't cost damn near this much.
Yeah, I mean, I should have checked the settings. I don't know the league settings, right? So if this is lineup, I still want T. Higgins side, but I could understand it a little more, like you said, if it's a heavy tight end premium and it's a lineup league. I'm not paying this, but I could at least see like why someone might do this. I think personally, I think there's it's so hard because of this. Mark Andrews is one of these cheat code guys in the tight end spot, right? Like he absolutely is that. But when I look at the value, Mike, right? T. Higgins, I think what we're seeing is a conversation we've had a couple times where, like, it's going to sound crazy, and I'm not saying it in a way that he's better or more valuable than Jamar Chase, but T. Higgins really is an alpha type receiver. And I think because Jamar Chase is there, people don't really give him that respect. I mean, that touchdown catch he should have had, Mike. Goodness, man. There is seriously only a handful of receivers in the league that make that catch and have the ability to do that, right? He just happens to play with Jamar Chase. Then you're getting a 24 first and a 24 second, and you're basically throwing the thirds back as grease, right? So I would say I like T. Higgins, the 24 first and the 24 second. Especially if I'm rebuilding, I love this. Like, I love doing this on a rebuild. Not saying I wouldn't do it in any build, but on a rebuild, because I get off of Andrews' points. I take the pick from this contender a year out. So if it unfolds a little later, right? Like the older, crusty build. And I think T. Higgins is a very good buy on a rebuild or a contender. So I really like what he did.
He's fantastic. I pulled it up on Player Profiler real quick, and I don't know how accurate it is. Like, I don't work at Player Profiler. I guess I've never really looked into it, but they said the primary corner on him was Sauce Gardner. Now, they go through and they usually track quite a bit of it. I don't know if it's how much Sauce was on him versus Jamar Chase, but I know how frustrated Jamar Chase was with Sauce Gardner, and then I look at T. Higgins' line, and I'm like, apparently he didn't have a fucking problem with Sauce Gardner.
Yeah.
5 for 93, he didn't give a shit.
Yeah,
T. Higgins did just fine.
T. Higgins has been in his own, man, early. So, I mean, obviously the injury week too, but like he's looked good when he's been on the field, in my opinion. So I like this trade for the Higgins side. Mike, it'd have to be for me to take the other side, I think you're right. I think it'd have to be a lineup, start 9 or start 10, and it'd have to be a 2-point tight end premium. Even then, I probably would try to explore a different thing. But
yeah,
like if you told me I was guns a-blazing ready and this is what I needed to do to make essentially like my dream team, Mob Squad, that's probably the only way you're going to get me to do it.
I couldn't trade you my wide receiver 1 or at worst, like T. Higgins is your wide receiver 2. Solid, right. Starting every week, no questions.
Yep.
There's no like matchups with a guy like T. Like, I don't give a fuck who he's playing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm basically saying it's an overpay, but I had like my team would have to have like a bunch of other receivers that are really good, and then like I'm just willing to make the overpay. Other than that rare scenario, I'm not doing it. You know,
like some of those start sit questions we get on the Sunday morning, where it's like, how do you have the top 5 players at the position on one dynasty team? Jesus Christ!
Because I've now taken every piece of value and hold it all. Let's get to the next one, man. We got
my boy AJ Brown getting dealt and Khalil Herbert fresh off the news, fresh off the RB1 week for Jerry Jeudy, a first and a second. Man, AJ Brown, I love him.
I can tell you this much: this is a best ball league too.
If it's a best ball league, Adam, I'm taking the Jeudy, the first and the second. You know my reasons.
Yep.
Asset multiplication. I love AJ Brown. But Jeudy in a first is enough for me to come off of A.J. Brown, and I will take a second for Khalil Herbert.
Yeah, I think that's where I think the big difference here, like this is a good trade, I think, Mike, for the differences in best ball and lineup. Like I really do. I think this trade speaks to that because if it's a short lineup league, even a longer lineup league, I think like a 10, like 9-10 easily, 11-12, I think I could maybe understand it. Anything more than that, I'm not doing this. But in lineup, Mike, I'll take the up tier here for AJ Brown because he's so damn good. I'm not a Jeudy guy. Like that's the thing. But in best ball, Mike, because in best ball, it's just so different. Like I'll take Jeudy. I'll take the first, like you said, right? Like pretty much if you're giving me a receiver that I'm valuing in that top 25, top 30 range, which Jeudy is, like I'm probably in best ball just going to do that for guys even in that top 5 range. Like I want to split them up. And then Herbert, he's a polarizing one. He's not someone I've ever been in on, really. He did look very good when given the touches. It'll be interesting to see what the role is for him with Monty out. Obviously, he'll get a bunch of touches when he comes back, what it looks like. But for me, in the best ball value mindset, I'll take the second for Herbert too. So I think this is one of those, Mike, where it's a really good deal for Go H Devil because in best ball, I like that side. But this is one of those where you can keep people coming back because it doesn't look that bad to the standard person, you know?
Yeah, because you're not bending anybody over here. Like, you keep them coming back to the well. You're easy to deal with. You're fair to deal with. Like for example, I watched in one of my best ball leagues today, AJ Brown got dealt for 2 firsts and a second in a best ball league.
Oh.
And the guy was like, I know you're a big Eagles fan. This is the offer I have. Would you give me anything better? And I'm like, fuck no. You should take that yesterday.
Bruh.
Like, I know you're competing with me and you're trading it to a competitor, but by all means, man, somebody's going to give you 2 firsts and a second for a wide receiver in a best ball league. You fucking take it.
And even though he gets AJ Brown, fuck it, man. Deplete his assets. You take his picks because I want him to have nothing left when he comes down to injuries, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think there's really too much else to say on this one. In best ball, I want Jeudy side. In lineup, I want AJ Brown side.
Well, let's do it. Ooh,
this is Mike. I want to preface this one. This is a good one, and I pinned it because this is a good discussion. So we got CeeDee Lamb at 23 first, right, for AJ Brown and Waddle, right? AJ Brown is definitely going to be the featured piece of the trade show today. But Mike, here's the thing. Right, so I'm in a league with Schumer. He's one of the shitheads. Shout out to you. He told me and everybody in the shithead trade channel, like this one he got blasted in chat for this, and basically people were really tilting because the other person's, Space Ace gets AJ Brown and Waddle on the contending side. Mm-hmm. But Mike, that first he says is definitely a top 2 pick, and he doesn't think it's 2.
Yeah, that's his own first back, right?
Right, because he now controls it. So. I'm assuming he's winless, and he has the inside track if he does everything correctly to get the 101 or certainly the 102. So, Mike, knowing that, like, I'll let you start it off because I have thoughts as well, but he got blasted for this.
This is a hard thing. When you go into rebuild, like sometimes you have to do some crazy things to get the pick back. But we fast forward to this time next year, and that's CeeDee Lamb and Bijan Robinson, or CeeDee Lamb and C.J. Stroud, or Bryce Young, or whoever the fuck it is. One of these top 3 picks for A.J. Brown and Jalen Waddle. Nobody bats an eye. And there'll be a lot of people who go like, I'd rather have the first. I'd rather have the CeeDee Lamb and the 101, the 102, whatever it may be. Nobody thinks twice. But you do that deal now. And you just have the 23 first. People can't correlate it, can't do the Zach Galifianakis at the blackjack table math in their head. It looks horrible. Looks absolutely horrible, right? You put an actual name to it, like Bijan or CJ Stroud or whoever the top quarterback is, Adam. They're going to be a first, second round startup pick next year. Like AJ Brown, Jalen Waddle are not. Period.
AJ Brown will probably be a second round startup pick. He kind of flirted with third round this year, and he's looking pretty good if he stays healthy.
That's fair.
But and Waddle probably be again, in that third range where he was, right? So like, here's what I would say, Mike. You made a great point, right? When you see this trade go through and you just see CeeDee Lamb and a regular 23 first for AJ Brown and Waddle, I understand the tilt. Here's the other thing. It is his. But, Mike, I don't care if it's mine or someone else's. If I know that pick is truly locked into a top 3 or top 2 pick, I already want that side. Like, even if you told me that's 103, I want that side. Because here's the thing. Right now, with what we know today even, and there will be more to come, right? It's September still. I'm going to get one of the 2 quarterbacks or Bijan Robinson. That asset, one of those 3 assets alone, I'd rather have than one of those receivers. And I'll take the, discount CeeDee Lamb. Obviously, I'd rather have the other guys, but I'll take the discount on CeeDee Lamb because Cooper Rush is throwing the football. Hell, last night they're playing, Mike, right? We're doing this on Tuesday. Last night, he has a one-handed catch, and he should have had another giant bomb TD. Like, and this is with the backup QB throwing him the football. So, I actually think that I get why you would do this on the other side. But, man, I really I think I have seen people get bent over far worse, and I actually think this is a win for him to get his pick back.
Yeah. Yeah, this is one of the rare occasions where you get your pick back where I can see it being a W for you in the future. Most of the time it's egregious, and it's sad to see what some people have to pay for their rebuilding first back.
It's honestly to the point too. Like a lot of times, I'll always explore it, but a lot of times if I have a failed contender, I mean, I don't have. I think I have two of these scenarios, right? And I'm not gonna get my pick back. Like it's gonna suck. The pick is gonna go to someone else. I'm not gonna like having that, but I'm not gonna overpay and consolidate in a rebuild. Like I'm just gonna go make other moves and get other pieces and just take the rebuild as if that pick's not mine.
For sure. Absolutely, buddy.
All right, so quick one here.
Bert.
Real quick one here.
He did it. Bert did it.
He did it. I mean, Mike, I had to check multiple times because the trade up here says 4 minutes ago, but I had to check. I'm like, I looked at the date on the thing multiple times. I'm like, these days have been over, right? Like,
they're back.
what?
They're back.
What happened? What happened?
One good game and they're back.
What happened? Like, honestly, Mike, I don't know anything about the league that Bert's in, but why?
I don't get it.
This one is. I mean, tell me. I don't know if I have any analysis to add, but
Nope. I got none either. Good job, Bert. I can't believe you pulled it off.
I don't care
did
what number that pick is. If you told me it's guaranteed 112, I want every piece of the first. There's not really any analysis. This is kind of more of just a show off, like a trade bait. You know, like here you go. Let's get to our boy.
Bert's out here. He's pulling legendaries in the NFL all day drop today too. This motherfucker's on a roll.
Yeah, he's feeling himself. We get 7 goat rings back, Mike. Go ahead.
He's back. He's back. So he gets Dak, London, and a third. And he sent away Jimmy, Darrell Henderson, Trey Lance, and what the fuck is this? What? Goat rings. How do you... Man, I've seen him make a lot of trades with this Big Black Scooby before. And let's just say it's never good for Big Black Scooby. He's probably running out of stuff at this point, ain't he?
Well, I've seen some trades with Big Black Scooby that aren't this bad. Like I would say every time I've seen it, it's typically a 7 goat rings W, but the margins are different, right? And this one, see, all right. So let's. What's crazy about this is right. So you're trading away Dak on an injury, right? And you're saying, but you're gonna take back Lance at the injury discount. What's crazy is the fact that Jimmy G's come in here. And the way that I've seen Big Black Scooby make deals before is he thinks he's going to get Jimmy G and he's still going to be okay at the like Superflex spot after what we just saw from him, right? Yikes. Otherwise, why are you taking Jimmy back? Like you're just not going to do that if you're rebuilding, right? And then the other thing is Darrell Henderson. You see what the jersey I'm wearing is. This is not OBJ. This is not any other 3. This is Cam Akers. It's his number. It's the Cam Akers backfield moving forward other than third downs. So... Like you saw how little Darrell Henderson last week, Mike, had 4 carries to, I think, Akers, whatever, double-digit carries. And,
yeah,
I mean, listen, Henderson, if Akers gets hurt or gets back in the doghouse, could have weeks, but he's not someone I'm ever going to really feel great about. And Jeudy is not someone I'm overly excited about either. He's okay. You're getting back, Mike. Like right now, I think there's a serious discussion outside of the fact that Trey Lance is a quarterback and the Superflex values are going to take him up later, like right now, today, a lot of people would probably rather have Drake London than Trey Lance.
You're not lying there.
So you're getting the 2 best assets in the deal.
Easily.
And then there's somehow a random third in there. Like I just don't.
Because. Just fucking, I need that.
I would love to be like a fly on the wall, like in the room of the discussions that go back and forth between these two in a trade. Because 7 goat rings, don't let him see the trade show, man. Because wow, he's not gonna like what he sees.
Horrible. Good job, 7 goat rings. Again, I don't think we've ever said bad job, 7 goat rings, but you always impress me, buddy. How you pull these off? Just. Here, I'll give you Trey Lance and Jimmy. You give me Dak, and then, Jeudy and Henderson for London. And, oh, by the way, I just don't think this is enough. I'm going to need your third, too.
If you want me to press accept on this, I just need a third or something to make me put it through. Like I just can't do it as it
I
is.
hate myself, but I have to get a third. All right, this is your boy.
This is our last one of the day. Mike, I'm glad he sent it this way because I wanted to really lean into this one. One, I think he did a great job, but two, so we have a 1 quarterback league, Mike, and it's a 10-teamer, and we have a trade is pending and completed. So we hit the triple crown, man. Trade is pending, 1 quarterback AAF league, and it's 10 teams. But that being said, we're looking at a 10-team, 1 quarterback league. Mike, so it's funny, last deal we saw Trey Lance, and this guy here has a very good team as far as like the pieces, the skill players. And in 1 quarterback, it's one of these weird dynamics, Mike, where like they're not that highly valued as far as like what you have in your lineup. It doesn't mean a whole lot unless you have Trey Lance as your primary and really only quarterback. And now you have all this dog shit and you got to go get one, and nobody wants to just like let you have a quarterback for free. So he's been trying to figure out what he's going to do. And Mike, I mean, so he sends Matt Ryan away and gives him Curtis Samuel, and he gets back Aaron Rodgers.
What the hell? Why? Nah, I'm good, man. I'm not going to downtier from ARod to Matt Ryan for the cost of Curtis Samuel. Like, I'm good.
Right. Well,
you also hit the AAF trifecta. Like, how often are you going to start Curtis Samuel and feel good about it?
And I've seen this league. I think it's like start 10. Like, you're not going to do that.
Nah,
you know what I mean?
Man.
Like, you're just not going to do that. I mean, could you do it? Sure. Like on bye weeks, maybe you'll have a spot here or there where you could do it, but you're not ever going to say like, all right, I'm winning this flex spot because Curtis Samuel's in there. You know what I mean?
From what I've seen from Matt Ryan this year so far, hasn't been great. Hasn't been great. Even when Michael Pittman Jr. was fully healthy week 1, it was still rough.
Yeah.
It was still rough.
Well, what I like about the way he did this and why I think it's a terrible deal for the other side is he was asking me multiple questions about, what about this, what about that? And we got a deal where he was close to he was going to have to send away Diggs, but he was going to get back like, Christian Kirk and ETN and Rodgers, right? The difference here, Mike, is like you got the guy to take a quarterback that means absolutely nothing back in 1 quarterback. Like Matt Ryan could basically live on the waiver wire. 10-team, 1 quarterback. Like you got him to take a quarterback back in value, which is just, I mean, that's just theft.
He should be on the waiver wire.
Right.
Let's be honest. In a 10-team, 1 QB, there's not a lot of reasons to roster Matt Ryan.
I believe he actually was until like, Kevin had Trey Lance go down, and he just had to figure out like, what do I do at quarterback? Like he had to start.
Then he picks him up, and then he turns him into Aaron Rodgers. I love it.
Ta-da!
Kevin. Ta-da! The magician.
So yeah, man, there we got Kevin really was mulling him over there. He got Aaron Rodgers back. He got to patch up the quarterback spot in his Goon Squad team. It was a handful of deals, man. What did you think?
Dude, I like it. The 9-pack of deals. Is that what we're going to call it? The 9-pack.
Yeah, man. We got them all covered.
Hey, we got to get our patrons in there. Anytime you post a deal there in Shithead Trades, your Savage, we got to get you on. It's going to be a perk. It's going to be a perk. But let us know what you think about the deals. Anything we missed? Anything we overvalued, undervalued? What are your thoughts on some of these ones that are closer, especially that one getting your first back on a rebuilder? How do you guys like to do it? Sometimes you got to overpay, but let us know your thoughts. But Adam, hell of a trade show. I love it, buddy. Great. Make sure you check us out, patreon.com/South Harmon. Boom. We just had somebody join while we're on air recording. I love it.
Love it, man. Love to see it.
Now.
Love to see it. We're 21 in the books. That number is going to largely grow. Appreciate everybody, supporting and watching the show and submitting the trades to the show. We enjoy going over showing you what we're doing in the streets, so it's not just us clowning or crowning you. We're telling you what we're doing week in and week out. Let us know what you think about the deals that people are making in the streets, how dirty they're doing people, and if we got them right or wrong on the trading.
Well, we appreciate you. That's going to do it for us. Catch us here, same time, same place next week. Love you. We're out of here. Peace.